And as a starting note, I'm going to say goodbye to Marco, because Marco is going off to a breakout room to finish up a meeting he's got going with Jamin Shively and James Desmond, talking, I think, about Kindred Spirits Ireland in 2025. Cooking something up anyway. And Marco can't hear me, so he doesn't know what I'm talking about. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, good. Well, thank you so much for being here when I got here, Marco. And I hope everything in your meeting comes out well and that you come and join us when you're done. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do double duty here as much as possible.
Double duty. Yeah. Okay, you do that. And I have Kate Roberts and Patricia Aguirre here in Gaia's Zoom room. And it's just us so far. Kate, how you doing?
Well, you know, I'm all right. But,
That's good.
you know, it's kind of interesting. I've kind of been, I don't know. I'm just kind of in this observation mode. I don't know what to do next. So I don't know if I'm all right or not. Talked to Jerry last night.
Uh-huh.
And he'd like to, he was suggesting maybe I come and help him with this little project. So I'm weighing that over, but I'm just getting I'm not supposed to travel.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting that message. So, yeah. Shannon, I wish I could tell you I was wonderful. I'm freaking a mess. Not sure what I'm supposed to do next.
Well, I don't think that you're called on to do anything just yet.
Yeah, that's where I've kind of been. It just hanging out, waiting and seeing.
Yeah.
Keep seeing I align my will with divine will. How can I serve? And I find things that last for a few months, but nothing seems real permanent. So,
but Kate, this is not a time for permanence. This is a time of change. And
I know.
Yeah. So rest easy, girl. Float on those waves. And we'll do fine. I'm feeling the same. And Bunny sings Wilson here. Bunny's here. Patricia's having trouble with her internet, I think. Jerry Anderson's here. That's wonderful. And Bunny, you're here. Hello, love. How lovely to see you. Yeah, your mic isn't working yet. You have to activate it.
Here we go.
There we are. How are you today?
Good. Busy day. How about you?
Oh, it's been a day. It's been a day, I'll tell you. Okay. And I'm going to, we've got a bunch of people arriving at the moment, so I'm kind of dealing with that. So if you want to tell me how you're doing, that would allow me to double task.
Oh, you just go right ahead and double task. I've been without electricity for about 3 days, and on half of my home here, but finally got the electrician figured it out. He was driving him crazy, but it took him a long time to figure it out, and they're not cheap. So yeah, it's one of those little side trips in life that you don't count on. But anyway, I've got electricity now, so I appreciate that.
Enjoy it while you can. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah. So welcome to Angela. thank you so much for coming. And Steve, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming. And Jerry, I gotta say, you knocked it out of the park yesterday. Thank you so much. You know, to see you so well received was a joy to my heart. I'm so glad for you.
Thank you, dear sister. I think I've gotten about 20 emails so far from different people, even one lady that volunteered to go to Puerto Rico on a permanent basis as a nurse, trauma specialist, and so forth. So,
Wow.
amazing people have stepped forward.
That's wonderful, Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And it comes at a good time too, because, you know, doing this whole project, Steve probably can relate. It's been a very lonely project because holding the space of unity of no religions, no dogmas, no of those kind of left everybody on the outside, and it's just a few brave ones that said, well, I'll go for unity, like our dear sister Red Clover.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, what got me was when Jim said that you're aligned with the Roman Catholic Church. Is that true?
No.
No.
The only relationship that we have with the Roman Catholic Church is, you know, I've said that our lineage of anointed, going back to St. Thomas, two people were part of the Vatican that it went through, but that was like 300 years ago.
Ah, okay. Well, that's
And the only reference I heard was the seating at the UN.
Yes.
that was
Only
totally,
4 religious seats at the UN. That was really,
yeah.
And
That's really rather marvelous. So
yes,
thank you so much, Jerry.
thank you for
Um,
what you do.
uh, and you did all of that without doing one of what Steve was asking for, and I'm going to encourage because Angela did hers, and I've there are 12 questions. And Angela, I'm sorry I didn't realize that you had put your answers below the questions, because all I saw in the uh, um, preview was the questions, and I didn't go any further in that. It's like, oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I understand. We all get very, very busy, and we might not take a moment to look at everything fully until someone brings that to our attention. So it's okay. I get it.
Well, what's really neat about that, Angela, is now we have more than one uh, 12 questions to look at, not just yours. I have a couple as well. Because I figured if you could do it, I could resurrect what I started doing and have a good long look at what I had come up with. And it's really nice that Steve is here to talk about what this is all about. And he's done his presentation, so we know kind of what he's doing. Yeah, and we're working on these things, Steve. Yeah, thank you too. Thank you too. Um, so what I'd like to do first is go around you. What?
Can I have just 1 second? Because I wanted to make sure that Angela understood why we're having you put it into a specific format for me, as opposed to me just going through it. And
Okay,
so,
rather than starting with that, Steve, and I do appreciate that. I do want to do that. I first want to get us all here and have our voices all heard. Give 1 to 3 minutes of what has been going on for you, so that we can hear Patricia's voice. And Marco's not going to be able to join us. He's being 2 people right now. He's in a breakout room. But I do want to have a little bit from everybody in everybody's ears. So let's start with Kate.
And Kate can say warm greetings from the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm on the eastern side of the Black Hills in homelands of the 7 bands of the Lakota, the Ochetusakoween. All of the river water runs into the Missouri River. And I just know some of my favorite people on the planet converge on this night who have wonderful ideas. And so I'm here to see how I can be supportive of that and any connections I might be able to make. And so honored to be in circle with you all, and I'll pass the feather on.
Thank you so much, Kate. You're so good at these things. Thank you so much. How about you, Bunny?
I'm on the other side of the Black Hills, 9 miles from Matotipala, and it's been a beautiful day today, and wonderful to see you all here tonight. And see you too, Kate. So we all have big projects and big dreams, and as was said earlier, it's a lonely journey because our vision is so much grander and larger than most people even start to approach. So it's fun to hear that others who are taking this lonely journey are finding some response, and some people who are willing and ready to step up, even if they just come 1 or 2 at a time. That's encouragement, because we all know this is heading in that way. It's just a matter of patience and endurance and commitment and passion to keep the ball rolling and keep doing what you do, even though it's misunderstood and overlooked and trivialized in a lot of ways. Oh, that's too big of a dream. It must be stupid.
Oh, we do bite off
That's
big
right.
chunks, don't we? Thanks, Bunny. Jerry, come on in.
Well, I've had a wild day today. Is my father's 89th birthday, and he is extremely healthy. He goes to the gym 5 days a week, uh, and he times it so that when it's finished, he goes to the senior citizen center for lunch, which is really cool because it's kind of like all the people he goes to school with clear back 60, 70 years ago who's at the lunch. So it works out nice for him.
Excellent. Well, all the best to him, Jerry, and
Yes.
to you. Thank you so much. Angela, you're up next in my squares.
Right on. Hey, Bonnie and Kate, you guys are in my home state of South Dakota. That's originally where I'm from. I got a lot of relatives there, so that's awesome. Thank you for bringing that home to me. So
Mm.
I got a lot of stuff going on. It's been a busy day for me too. Sunday evening, I was assaulted by someone, so I have a lot of rigor more going on with that.
Ooh.
My septic tank is down right now, so I have some issues going on with that.
Ah.
And I have some issues going on with the property and the landlord, and I know it's all going to work out just fine for the greater good. But so I've definitely have had some very interesting, non-conventional days over the last couple of days, and I'm glad to be here with all your smiling faces. So thank you.
Oh, Angela, I am so glad you're here with us. It should be easier, shouldn't it? Yeah.
It should be. It should be easier, but you know what? The universe puts those things in our way for a reason, and that's the way life is. So, you know, whether it's a test of your strength or their strength, or you know, where you're going to set your boundaries or what's going to happen here, and how you're
Yeah.
going to deal with it. So,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
keep a smile on your face and know everything's going to be okay in
Yeah.
the long run.
Bless you, darling. Bless you very much. And Steve, come on in.
Hi there. From the Sierra foothills of Northern California. I live in Nevada City, California, which is about 2,000 feet up. I love it here. I've been working and gearing up for my presentation in Humanity Rising, which will be in January. I'm very excited about that. Been working in my wood shop, trying to get things going there and make it functional again. Building my nonprofit and keeping up relationships with my investing group because that's what we're looking to do.
Excellent.
I'm complete.
Excellent. I'm glad you're here. And next square is filled by Stanley. Talk to us, Stan.
Microphone. There we go. So I'm out of breath, and well, today was another yakety yak day in the after chat, and it went on and on and on and on almost for 4 hours. So I think. So that kind of activity, and yesterday with Jerry, and the second half of the exercise didn't get posted yet because I'm not exactly sure what to do with it, and it's worrying me a little bit, but it needs to go in a place that's not YouTube because YouTube has funny ideas about health issues, and that's what we were talking about. It's health issues, and it was a wonderful conversation, but it went on and on and on and on and on and on. And so we had to have two components. So there's part one, which is the after chat, and then part two, which is the after chat, and we kept on going. And today it happened again. So yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to stop being such a good conversationalist, Stanley.
I don't say a word, okay? But I do something, okay? What I did do 4 years ago, or thereabouts, is to set up what I believed was the appropriate place to host a conversation, and I found very nice people to continue to come and continue to come and continue and lead the conversation and keep it running, and it's what's been happening. And so my philosophy, my idea about how to build community is to let people build it themselves.
And it's working like a charm, Stan.
Yes, it is. And
Thank you so much.
based in part on a book called Building Community from the Inside Out. I don't know if you've ever heard it's the Green Book. It's the probably one of the oldest books that's still in print about how to build a community. And from the inside out, you look around the community, you find the people that are working, and you make everybody else have access to them. And the process that came from that, this is called the asset-based community development, which is ABCD. And recently discovered that one of my oldest companions in the work had never heard of it. He'd heard of asset-based community development, but he had never heard of the book Building Communities from the Inside Out, which is strange because my wife, Sally, turned me on to that book 15, 20 years ago. Wow. And how is it that Maurice Sampson, who's one of the best community builders in Philadelphia, hadn't really had an opportunity to be affected by and teach other people about this marvelous piece of thinking.
Writing.
Yeah, and writing. It's like, whoa, okay. So I turned him on to that, and off we go. Asset-based community development. You find out who's doing what, and you make sure everybody can find out about it.
That's right. We need to do more of that. And I'm going to come back to you and talk about that in a few moments. I just want to bring in Patricia and then Jack. Come on in, Patricia.
Hello, everyone. My internet is kind of
wonky.
Well,
and your chin, your lower chin is missing
here.
altogether.
It's 11 o'clock, more than that. And I'm, because of Pacific time. And I'm coming back. Almost like.
You're coming back almost like what?
Like we can't see her lower chin.
Well, no, and I wasn't going to worry about that. I was more concerned about her being connected so she had a voice.
Right.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, just to complete back
Turn off your video, Patricia. We'll have your voice then.
again, was out of space, very sick, and almost, went to the hospital and stuff like that. That I never happened.
Now, can you talk to us, Patricia? Seems like your health and your internet are equally healthy. I want.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm coming back on stage. I'm here at the NGO right now. I came to take care of it now, and back on the ground playing. And I'll share with you guys more at another moment, because the internet is very unstable and it's very here. But I'm very happy to be here with all of you.
I'm very happy to have you here with us too. And I look forward to hearing more about your NGO and what's going on the ground where you are. So let us know how we can best facilitate that. And Jack, come on in. Come and introduce yourself and tell us what's going on for you.
All right. Well, I live in Tucson, Arizona, the town that JoJo left, in the Beatles song.
That's right.
But yeah. Well, what I'm been trying to do for a long time is try to kind of put together the alternative new economy that I think is essential if we want to manifest a world that works for all.
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking, we might be getting to the point, Stanley and me, of actually spending a little more focused time together, especially now that we're both in that kind of EL group.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I want to, I think we need to see if we really are on the same page and where we can go with that. 'Cause I mean, I think we can. We got to figure out how to do it and make it work. And I think we got a couple of good. Well, I don't want to go on and on. This isn't time to go on and on, I guess. So I'll just let it go for that. But I might want to go on a little bit more later.
I look forward to that,
I
Jack.
got a quick question though. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What?
I think you mentioned, or somehow I saw in one of your printouts of the of this meeting, that Steve Nathan is into economics, and I want to know if that's true, and if he is, I want to hook up.
Well, I'm sure that Steve would be glad to be hooked up with you. He does have an interest in economics, and I should let him answer your question.
All right.
Come on in, Steve.
Hi, Jack. Thank you, Shannon. Yeah, the economics that we've been discussing and looking to implement is called normative in economics. There are 8 different forms of capital. And so we believe that it's a way that small towns and communities can thrive even if the financial markets are in distress. It'll untap hidden assets, underutilized assets. It'll allow communities to finance things in whole new ways. This is part of what we're looking to build. Does that answer your question in a broad stroke without getting into too much detail?
Yeah, I think so. It's a little different than what I'm looking at in a way, but yeah, I definitely, it would take us a little more conversation to figure that out, because that is important. And the other thing is, I just want to let everybody know that I'm not turning off my camera because I want to. It's because my camera doesn't work, and I have ordered a new computer, and when it gets here, I'll be back on I'll be able to show my face. I'm not sure that's a good idea, but
Oh, well, we always love to see your smiling face, Jack. And we look forward to your new camera. I want to thank you all for being here and a part of this. The Gaia Zoom room, it was designed to be a place where we talked about the passions that we are using or riding in order to create the best of all possible worlds. And the way the view I have it is through our heart gardens. There are other parts of our heart gardens that have manifested in the last while. And I see Steve holding a handful of that, because without resources, the network will never be built. The education, the global education that is part of the Our Heart Gardens vision is, I feel, humanity rising. And Jim's Nuggets gives me something that allows me to talk about things every day, to bring awareness to what we're doing, and how Our Heart Gardens moves from a vision into a reality is what we're engaged in here. Because the way I see it, Our Heart Gardens involves everybody. And what I like about Steve's idea is the fact that he does have 8 forms of capital, that ways of identifying value that communities have not had enumerated for them. That it's not part of the balance sheet, it's not part of the bottom line, but it is what we live with every day. The value, for example, of a wife and a mother, and having a grandmother who comes in and teaches the child and babysits. That is not shown in the balance sheet. The gifts that are given, the volunteering that we do, Stan and Jerry and Kate and Bunny and Steve, all of us, we're all volunteering. They call it a hobby, or they used to call it a hobby. Now it's a passion project. And I think that that is what we are delving into here in Gaia's Zoom room, because it's going to be our passion projects that take us further than usual, employment for money. And Steve, you're having bandwidth issues. Okay. So I'm going to suggest that perhaps we might dive into some of these one-pagers. And this would be a really good time for you, Steve, to talk about the purpose that you asked these 12 questions for and why you're asking for one-pagers.
Yeah. So basically, what I've come to realize is that I don't have to reinvent the wheel anymore. I've decided I'm going to build a nonprofit, that people have projects already. And the thing is to match them up with people who are looking to invest, with so-called impact investors. These are not traditional investors. And the investors group that I've managed to get involved with has a lot of them. And so I made my first meeting at one of their big events a couple of months ago in Reno. I'm going again in Sacramento in the spring. I've been working at developing the relationships, and basically what I've learned is to ask them what they're looking to invest in, what floats their boat, and see if I can find somebody that has a project that's local to them and matches up with what they want. This way, they get to donate through a nonprofit. We get to pass it through to the project that they want to donate. So they get a write-off. And now projects get funded this way. And so it doesn't happen overnight. Relationships like this take a while. But people are looking for different things and ways to invest, just like I'm trying to invent a new way to have a nonprofit where I don't raise money to give it away just to give it away. I'm looking to invest it with somebody who's got a business idea, because through my donor advised fund, we're allowed to see if we can take up to a 20% stake in that business with an investment that way. This allows us to pour even more resources in. And then when that investment pays off, to take that money, because it's all going to the nonprofit, and reinvest it in other projects to get them going. This way, we're not always asking people for money. What we're doing is finding projects and investors, matching them up, looking for an equity stake in that, because we bring things to the table too. Part of the reason for asking the 8 questions is being able to speak to these investors on your behalf before we even match them up with you, so that we can show them, we can go back and forth. I can pick out what I need for a 1-pager from your answering those questions and basically put it together for them based on what they've told me they're looking to invest in. The whole thing about a first impact like that is to just create the vision. But I want to highlight as many of the things that I've learned about what really floats their boat, so that I can show them a project that, hey, here's something that you're not going to hear about in most places, but you can invest in this if you want to, and here's how. And let me put you together with whoever's running the project and see if we can get you any more information so that you have what you need to be able to invest safely, and they get what they need for what they want to do. That's basically what I'm doing.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Any questions from anyone? Yes, Bunny, come on in.
Get my mouse out here. Yeah, what are the 8 questions? Is that something that was covered before, or?
I can put the 1-pager questions into the chat. And they're actually 12. I don't know which 8 he wants to talk about. Let's see what he has to say.
I think I said 8 forms of capital, so that
8
maybe
capital,
that's
12
what the
questions. Yeah.
okay. Unless it's
So-
Passover, then it's 4 questions.
Okay, let me go through the questions aloud so that we can actually, let's talk about them as we go. What specific community issue does your project address? Just go on. How will you measure the project's impact? Who are your key community partners? Jack, your hand is up.
Yeah, but continue with what you're doing.
Okay. So what's your strategy for engaging diverse community members? How will your project foster ongoing dialogue? What's your plan for long-term sustainability? How does this align with our mission to bridge divides? And perhaps we might mention, Steve, that how does this align with our mission to bridge divides? And you have 3 bridges that you want to bridge, right? 3
Yeah,
divides.
yeah. And so the 3 bridges I've learned to focus on are the educational divide, the generational divide, and the urban rural divide. And part of that has to do with how rural people live and how people farm and growing food and teaching people in the cities who really don't understand what a rural lifestyle is like and why they so get into some of the laws and issues that they have. And it's somebody's got to be able to negotiate these things and explain it in ways that people can understand. Because otherwise it becomes very partisan.
Excellent. And I've now added those 3 onto the questions so that it's reflected in the document that has the list of questions in it.
Yeah, and thank you for that. It's like I kind of assumed that people that knew that are learning about the nonprofit and understand that first. And yeah, it makes sense to put that in now. I apologize for not having it there before.
Not a problem. So the next question is, what is your timeline for implementation? Then how will you handle potential conflicts or resistance? What resources beyond funding do you need to succeed? How will you share your learnings with other communities? And what's your backup plan if initial approaches don't work? It's a good list of questions. Yes, Steve.
The other thing that I have not mentioned yet tonight is that one of our board members is a really outstanding grant writer. And so one of the things that we do look to do is also see about if we find grants that we believe are obtainable, we'll see about matching people up with grants. And like I said, there's a lot of reasons that what these questions do is allow us to compare your projects with a whole number of different things and in a whole number of different ways. So that the minute something comes up that all of a sudden it triggers something that makes me say, oh, that's Jerry's project, or that's Bunny's project, or that's Kate's project, or that's Shannon's project. Then it allows me, because of the relationships I'm developing with people, it'll allows me to kind of say, hey, here's a way for you to see, and let me connect you people.
Thank you very much, Steve. Okay, let's go to Jack. Come on in, Jack.
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering, Steve, are you a professional investor? Is that
He's an instigator.
So, yes, my job title is instigator. I am not a professional investor, although I've done it for myself, which in some ways, yeah, I've taken my lumps and won some, lost some. It's not what I'm doing now. I'm looking to build in other ways, in other forms of capital than the ones that we're used to working with. Does that answer your question, Jack?
yeah. Yeah, because you need people that have investment experience. My thing is a little bit different than that. I'm not really all that into money markets and things, but you need people involved in building an alternative economy who, of course, are interested and confident in that sort of thing. And the other thing is, and I think this probably a no-brainer, but I mean, when you're working on this, I assume that your focus is on helping people who are working to create a world that works for all. That you're not just doing an investment thing to make a buck or whatever.
You know, that question right there, I'm not rich. Like I said, I struggle like most people do financially. And I've come to realize that the system is broken and that it really, it's extracted, and it can be so much better. We as people should not be struggling the way we do, just so that the ultra rich can sit on large piles of cash. It's just, you know, I've tried to make a difference in the world in a whole number of ways. Shannon knows more about me than most of you because we've spoken a lot since I met her.
What I'd like to say about what you're doing, Steve, is that you're representing a group of people who are involved in impact investing and finding ways to facilitate the world that works for everyone.
Well, not only that, but it's not just me. The people I have on my team.
We can't all go to every meeting. So to have one of you come in, you are exhibiting one of the strengths of weak ties. You are allowing your group to learn from us and us to learn from your group, but not everybody has to come and have their voice here and their bodies here. So I think this is time well spent. I like what I've heard about the group that you are a part of, Steve, and that's why I encourage you to come.
My partners feel that this space is not ready for them until you guys have answered these questions. They need to see how serious people are. And they need to see ideas aren't what they want. My job is to connect wealth with viable projects.
Yeah.
And in order for me to sell somebody on something being viable, I've got to at least be able to give them that.
Yeah. And it's like Patricia, there she sits down in Brazil in her NGO on this beautiful piece of land with these beautiful buildings on it. I mean, if there was.
So look, eventually, once I get my website built, because like I said, I'm looking for investment money as well, because I've put as much into the other projects around me and what I'm doing as I can from what I've got. But there's legal, there's business structuring, there's all kinds of things now that I'm at the point where that's what's got to be done. And the website alone, this is not just, oh, my cousin does websites, let me hook you up with them, because when you're talking about being able to walk into a town or community and being able to show them a demonstration on what new economics based on normative economic theory can do for them, you've got to be able to show it on the website, where this is the dashboard that we can set up for you. This is what I've set up with my website, where I can show what's going to what projects and how much of it goes there and everything else, and what this money is doing and the ways it impacts people's lives and those communities in so many ways.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Jack, come on in.
Yeah, with the way I'm working, I mean, I just, I've got written a few things on how we build the alternative parallel new economy. and put a lot of time and thought into it, many years actually thought. And one thing what I'm working on is that, to put together a conscious or alternative economy, is that we get together conscious businesses with conscious people. Now, this is something that I don't think has ever been done. The idea being is that actually build a databases, a few of them. The two main ones, there's one, a database of all the conscious businesses that we're aware of. And when I talk about conscious businesses, a lot of that is the social solidarity economy, which a lot of which are worker-owned cooperatives, and take a long time to go through that. But these are conscious people who are trying to build a better world. But the other thing is that, people will purchase consciously when it's convenient, because most of us know that it's a good idea. So we'll do it when it's convenient, when it's there and handy. But we don't do it in a very organized way. Most of us don't. The majority of our expenditures have nothing to do with dealing with conscious business. And so what I'm looking at is we put together not just a database of the conscious businesses, we put together a database of the conscious buyers, conscious customers. And I can go on a long time about that, but that's the main thing I want to put in there. And the reason I wanted to say something to you, Steve, is that something that makes sense to you? Like when you're dealing with what you're dealing with. I guess my thing is that, what I'm trying to do is avoid going out there just in the netherworld and kind of taking the word for it or whatever, but get people who really are into creating conscious businesses and creating these databases. And I guess I'm kind of curious as to whether that's something you might be interested in.
I wonder, Steve.
Is he still here?
Yeah.
Yes, he's still here. Of course I'm interested in it, Jack. It's funny. I developed a little side business here recently, which is more along the barter type than actual business.
Well, that's cool. I mean, barter when you can, for sure. I mean,
and it's something I do with small restaurants in town, family-owned restaurants that are not chain-owned, and there's not a lot of margin in the restaurant industry, and I have a lot of skills. I've done a lot of things in my life. One that is a specific appeal to restaurant owners.
I think it's a great idea, Steve.
Yeah.
It was
Even
one
the
of
way
the
I
things
approach it with them.
It was one of the things that impressed me about you. So I would love you to share with the group what it is that you're doing every Monday.
I spent almost 15 years as a maintenance engineer at the Tropicana Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
And many, many years as a building maintenance engineer, chief engineer, building superintendent, resident manager in New York City. So those are the places where I've spent most of my life. When I was in Las Vegas working at the casino as an maintenance engineer, I fixed everything. But my specialty was fixing all the restaurant stoves, which is a skill that not a lot of people have. And they hired me knowing I'd never worked on a stove in my life. But if I had done boilers in New York City and things like that, that I would learn stoves, and I did. And Shannon also knew about some health issues I went through a while ago after moving here. But it's one of the things now that I realize I can still do that and supplement my income in a way that helps out lots of restaurant owners in this town. And I work with them in a way that's different. I really don't want to go into the details. I know we're being recorded.
I don't see what's wrong with it.
I would just rather not get into the details.
That's okay then.
Recorded.
That's fine. That's fine.
Mhm.
I just think it's a little piece of genius to share your expertise and the things that you know how to do and do it for food cards.
Here's what please don't say that.
No?
No. So like
That is the alternative monetary.
Yes,
It's
it is.
not it's the different value that we're talking about. And
Yes,
the
it is. The way
creativity.
how I got myself in the door. But now I've switched that model. And it was my way in the door. I hadn't done anything. Now I have referrals, the customers that love me because of what I've done for their restaurants and their chefs and the quality of their food because of the consulting that I do with them.
But just because you use one model doesn't mean that you can't use other models.
I know, and I do.
I love that. You know, we need to be we need to move with what is available and what the needs are. This is the model for how we are moving forward. This is good, Steve.
The system that we have now is broken. It's designed to
Exactly.
benefit a very scarce few.
Yeah.
And so what we're looking to do is demonstrate proof of concept on a way that works, that's different.
Yep.
And so there's so many pieces to this. And we've been working on this for so long that, I mean, even like to answer Jack's question about investing, he has no idea how much time I spent trading options and learning about that, because I didn't want to just buy stocks. I wanted to play options and know about that. And so that was what I learned. And I was in the process of learning commodities when I decided I was going to go in a different direction. So now I'd rather make art and sell or donate it for donations to my nonprofit, and help towns and communities and businesses thrive, because I believe our government has failed us, our systems have failed us. And it's not just here in the US, it's globally. But right now, the laws are in place for us to do what we're talking about here in the States. And right now, we're working on doing it right here where we are. And once we've got proof of concept here, we're going to look at land Friday to build a conscious community. And so it's not the piece we looked at, we're going to look at, which was more than twice the size, but it's something let's start small and demonstrate what we can do. And it's a matter of finding a couple of people who are going to say, you know what, I'll invest in them, I'll invest in him. I see where he's trying to go with this and what he's trying to do. And like I said, I'm looking for a board member who can bring 50K in a Rolodex. It's not a real big ask, but as a board member, they'll see where that money goes and what we're doing with it. And they'll start to get pieces of things that are going on that I haven't even yet broached. It's like, the ways we're looking about building businesses out of all of this, just like the 8 forms. I'm I keep telling my business partner I can sell that to communities. And we're working on that package. And how many communities do you think wouldn't want that?
I think it's really important. I think it's what the Our Heart Gardens idea vision is built on. And I see Jack's got his hand up. I think it's again. So come on in, Jack.
Yeah, well, I got two things. One is when you bring up restaurants, it brings up a way that I can kind of, in a very easy and to understand clear way, what I'm talking about as far as building the alternative economy. Like, you know, like picture a group of people that's meeting in a coffee shop. And you know, if you go to coffee shops, and especially if you go to you know, the more famous ones, you can, I mean, you can just get a cup of coffee and a roll or something, spend 10, 12 bucks or more. And you're giving that money to somebody else. So I guess in my little movie almost skit is that somebody at the table says, well, you know, I always wanted to put together a coffee shop as a business. But I needed, you know, but I couldn't afford it. And all the people there said, well, we think you should do it too. And we will promise A, to put some money into the putting it together, but B, we're not going to go to some other coffee shop. We're going to go to your coffee shop. And when we put money down on the counter, it's going to go into the community because you're part of our community. I mean, that's how we do it. We can't keep giving our resources outside to the people who are responsible for creating this mess that we're in. We can't keep feeding that terrible machine. So we got to figure out how we keep that in the community. And quickly, the second thing I was going to say is that when I tell my activist friends, a lot of them, you know, when I say, oh, the system's broken, they kind of look at me and kind of roll their eyes and say, no, Jack, the system is not broken. It is working very well for the people who created it and run it. Anyway,
It hasn't yet broken.
I had to say that. I mean, it's broken for us.
It's broken for us. I completely agree with you, Jack. Did you want to respond to that, Steve, or shall we move on to having a look at the one-pagers?
Whatever you want to do. I mean, listen, you know, since we've been talking about why I'm doing this and why I've been asking this of you and whether I'm doing it just for the money, yeah, you know what? I would like to respond.
Okay.
I've tried to make a difference in the world in a number of ways. First, through the military and government defense work. I was an expert on the Soviet air defense system. I served on the East German border during the Cold War. Until I realized the military-industrial complex wasn't where I wanted to be anymore. That's when I went back to becoming a maintenance engineer because my dad and grandfather did that in New York as building supers. And so I had an in and a way to get in, and I used it and went to work learning about big buildings and how to run them and operate them and maintain them and train men and all the things that I did and dealing with hundreds of families sometimes, where you actually end up becoming the mayor of a community in some respects. And then I ran for office after I moved to Vegas. You know, I found this yesterday, Shannon. I just thought, can you see that?
Nathan. Oh, that was when you were running for office.
I ran for state senate back in 2008 in Nevada. And I happened to find this card and a t-shirt. And so I've always tried to make a difference one way or another. It hasn't been about money to me. Anybody who knows me knows it's not about the money. But you know what? You got to make it sustainable. And in these days, You got to make the money to do what you have to do. And so I'm trying a way to create a business that's sustainable, where I'm connecting people so that they get their projects handled, my people get their tax deductible write-offs, and being able to donate into a project that they want that's really going to make a difference in the world. And maybe some of them will donate into my projects, and Shannon knows about the ones that I've got, which are at the top of my list. But like I said, by having these questions answered, and with the people that I'm working with, it's not always about me or my projects. It's about learning what it is they want to invest in. And can I connect to someone that has exactly what they're looking for? And
For example, your first question, what specific community issue does your project address? If somebody wants to do something on the farming communities, and that would narrow the number of projects, and the investors. This helps to weave them together. So thank you for the questions so that we can make our projects available to the investors that you have an access to.
the other thing is like just in building our community, for example, the people we're focusing on starting that community with are veterans, farmers, cultural creatives, people who are going to be able to be first responders and help build a community. Jack was talking about that earlier, what it takes to build a community. And there's a lot of thought that had to go into all of this. And like I've been working on this for a long time, and I've got a lot of skills and a lot of tools.
Yeah.
And a lot of really cool friends who have invited me to come and play with them. And this is the role that they've determined is best for me, because this is what they feel I can do, is rally people from my generation or people who are willing to look at things the way I talk about them and the way you talk about them, Shannon, and say, I've often said, how I'm nonpartisan. You can invest in red v blue, or you can invest in me and you. And I think that makes a difference now. There's people in this country who are really fablungent. If anybody knows that term, about
No, I
what
don't.
to do now. Michigan is another one.
Well,
People
that
are
one's
going
more.
People are confused, people are crazy, people do not know what to do, which is why I am so excited to have the day after.
Yes.
For my
And
presentation.
What he's talking about is January 21st is the date that Steve Nathan will be addressing Humanity Rising, and on the main stage with Jim Garrison, talking about the day after and the choices that we have. And I'm really glad that that has panned out and that you're going to be doing that, Steve. I'm going to ask Angela if you would like to go through with the group the your one pager. I can't hear you.
There you go. Now you should be able to hear me.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind. Did you create your one pager as well?
I did. I created a couple, but we could start with yours, and if we've got time, we can go on to mine, if you're willing. And so, if you are, let's do it.
I got no problem.
Excellent.
Let me see if I can bring it up on my. I may bring it up on my computer. That way, I can have the words to remind me.
Well, what I can do.
I'm going to be like Steve though too. is, you know, I was always taught to let my elders go first too. So if you would like to do yours, I think that you should too.
Thanks for pointing that out.
You're
No,
welcome. It's not
I'm
much, Shannon. It's not much. Trust me.
well, I tell you what, I'm going to share and put yours up so that we can all see it. Now,
Okay.
what I saw was just this, and it wasn't it. So underneath it, I found the Illuma Heart Fellowship proposal. And so the questions that we asked are not readily there. So I'm going to copy this and put it over into here. So, sorry, I'm just going to put the question in here. We can take all of these out, Angela. I liked the way you highlighted, you know, just the actual issue. But I want to know what Steve's question was. So,
Yeah,
would you
no,
like
that's
to
fine.
tell
Yeah.
us? Yeah, would you like to tell us about what specific community issue does your project address?
Yeah, I will. You know, I'll read you what it says here. It tackles critical challenges within the community, including job creation by offering employment opportunities in construction, product development, outreach, and affordable housing, utilizing local resources and collaborative labor to create sustainable living spaces, and some community healing, fostering a sense of belonging and collaboration through shared projects and initiatives. Excuse me. A little background on that, just so you guys know. Every community I move to, I become a community leader. I do a lot of, I've done so many things in my lifetime, I can't even give you the whole list. But it all involves helping people and being a part of the community and making things better. That's a deep at the core. That's what I've done my whole life, and I'm not about ready to stop now. So just so you
Well,
guys know.
that sounds good to me. Here's the questions. And so, oops, here we go. And what? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Back here.
There you go. And I have to admit, you know, I really do appreciate Google Docs when you're working on projects with different people and you're coordinating on documents. It's really amazing how the different colors come up and you can actually see things happening. We live in an age today that allows us so much more than we used to be able to do in the past. It's just magnificent.
Oh my God, I so agree with you. To be able to do this without including mail and all the other things that we used to have to do, oh my God. And so I love the way you did it so professionally, so beautifully. I appreciate this. So I'll read the next one just for difference. We will use the following metrics to evaluate success. Employment metrics, the number of jobs created and sustained. Housing metrics, completion and occupancy rates of affordable housing units. Community engagement, surveys and testimonials from participants, staff, and partners. And knowledge sharing, workshops and events attended, and knowledge transfer outcomes. Now, before we go on, these two things, what does this look like in reality? How does this transfer into the practical day-to-day lives of people?
That's something that every community will be different at, you know, depending on their community needs. Every community is going to be different. I can give you a little background for this community that I'm living in currently. It's an urban rural community. Tonopah is on the very, very, very far west side of the Phoenix metro area. There's housing out here. There's a lot of people out here that don't have places to live, and they actually need some healing and some help because they want to quit making the choices that they're making and they want to get off of that. So if they had a community, you know, like a fellowship to go to to where there was some housing, where they could get some work, where they could get some meditations, you know, conscious living, if conscious things, if they need that, or if they needed just some regular, you know, I don't want to say psychotherapy. That's not the word I'm looking for, but that's what's coming to my mind. Okay. That goes from stemming from what I went through just in the last couple, it happened on Sunday. So excuse my, okay.
So, okay.
But people need to go through those things. So if there was some housings like that and a community that was already built where they could go to, where there was rules and regulations set up, and then the community would also see that, because the community would help foster that. Hey, there we have this place in our community that can help you. Let's do this. And they would bring them to that community and, you know, can offer those services to people.
Yeah.
And that helps.
Thank you so much.
Because lots of people are reaching out. People are reaching out every day for help.
Yeah. Steve, come on in.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, no need to apologize.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect example of why now, once it's in this format, to that second question there, how
Let me go back there.
how will you measure the project's impact? How will you measure it? In other words, what we're talking about is what we're building is a dashboard that takes into account the 8 different forms of capital to measure. And that way you can actually create indices for a town built based on what they're doing and how the growth that they're showing and the programs that they're doing. They can show how investments in that community will really return more than normal returns. And so I don't know how you're measuring it. Like I understand that you're going to measure it, but you see what the difference that I'm talking about and the level that we're trying to take it to, because people have to be able to see this. Later on, we'll get to that. For now, it's just to show you the level that we're taking things to. so that you don't think that I'm just asking you for all of your secrets.
Right.
That's not what I'm trying to do here.
Okay.
No, that's not who I am or what I'm about. It's about finding how do we match you up and get the investor the information they need in the format they need it in, so they can say, wow, Steve, this is a no-brainer. Hook me up with that person. Let me talk to them and see what we can figure out. It's a different way of trying to run a nonprofit.
I appreciate the difference. Thank you so much, Steve. I want to say hi to Lisa. Lisa is now in the room. Thank you so much for your support of Jerry Anderson. He did a wonderful job yesterday. Just to catch you up, we have been talking about one-pagers, and Angela has got her one-pager in, and I've got a couple myself, and we've got the questions up, and I'm sharing screens so that we can go from being able to see each other to seeing her one pager. And it's a little longer than one page, but I really like it. And so we're going to do a little squishing, but that's for later. I want to continue working on this. How was your day, Lisa?
Long, but I'm here.
I'm so glad you're here. I missed you.
Yeah, I missed you guys too. I wanted to check in a little earlier, but I was stuck on the highway and there was no pulling over to try and log into a website. So
yeah, I understand. Yeah. You're here now, and that's what counts. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, and Jerry, your presentation was fantastic. Well done. Well done. It inspired me actually. Yeah, so I have a couple of people I want to share it with. So good job.
Excellent. Great to hear. Okay, so the third question is, who are your community partners? And Angela came up with, we aim to build partnerships with, over to you.
Local businesses contributing resources or expertise, construction teams specializing in sustainable and affordable housing, community members directly involved in projects fostering ownership and participation.
Excellent.
I was going to just say a little explanation on that. I work with a lot of community people as it is all the time. I'm a huge networker. I have a huge database of people that I work with. And if somebody wants anything done, or, you know, if they want to know something, no matter what it is, all the way from an Uber ride to somebody that works on your house or somebody that does tarot cards, whatever it is, they always call me up and ask me. If they always say, hey, Angela, what's going on here? What's going on there? So that's one of my skills that I have, just so you guys know. And I'm very, very good at talking to people. So, and getting to know them. So, and I work with a lot of different people. So that a lot of that is where that comes from, and because it's a lot of my skills that I can offer.
Well, absolutely. Okay. So the next one is, what's your strategy for engaging diverse community members?
Our inclusive strategy includes community workshops, regular events to engage people from various backgrounds, accessible communication, multilingual outreach, materials, and diverse leadership representation, and a safe space, creating welcoming environments where everyone feels valued. Part of building a community like this is being able to reach out to the community that surrounds us and allow them to come to the community for different events, for different things that are going on, and have that open door policy. So not only are you fostering the community where you're living, but you're also fostering the community that's around you, because hopefully, you know, the long-term goal is to grow your own food, you know, process all that kind of stuff, or work with other community farmers that are out there. I know the local honey guy, just for an example, the best honey I've ever had. You know, work with other farmers like that and bring that stuff to your community, and then you can do other things for the community and have different different classes, not only those kind of classes, but also conscious classes as well. You know, tarot cards, spiritual channelers, you know, all the things involved in that.
Excellent. Okay, and our next one, and that's that one. Take that out. This one. How will your project foster ongoing dialogue? We will establish. Carry on.
Feedback mechanisms, online platforms, and town halls to gather continuous input. Educational initiatives, sharing lessons learned and best practices to empower others. Community councils, regular meetings with key stakeholders to address concerns and align goals. The way I look at it, just so you guys know, another thing that I do, I volunteer with the incorporation board here in Tonopah. We're looking into incorporation and one small town and a bunch of different things to see which is the best option for us in bringing it to the community. Excuse me. So I go to the town hall meetings. I have been down to the board of supervisors. I've been to the Senate. I've been, you know, to those kind of things on all sides. I work with state land trust departments and all different things like that. So with the knowledge that I carry myself, and then being able to go to the community and talk to these community members and have meetings and have discussions and be that partisan person like Steve there, and not make it political. This is about community. Everybody put their differences at the door, and what can we do to be a community and come together and make this a better world.
Oh, that's beautiful, Angela. Sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, you're just fine. Thank you.
Okay. So our next one is what your sustainability plan, what's your term for long-term sustainability?
To ensure long-term viability, we will generate revenue through the sale of products and video content, documenting our processes and outcomes. Excuse me. Excuse me. build a network of donors and grants supporting ongoing efforts, and partner with local organizations for resource sharing and mutual support. That comes down to, depending on what's going on, if you're going to have people, you're going to have a community here, you're going to be making products, you're going to be doing artwork. Just like Steve said, I do artwork myself. It helps me meditate and do a bunch of different stuff. So you're going to be doing things like that. And when you teach those skills, healing through the power of the arts.
Very exciting to be.
Yeah, healing through the power of the arts is really what we need to do. In my opinion, what we need to do in this world is we need to come back to our arts and allow ourselves to be free and do that freedoms, but still take care of our responsibilities and take care of our communities and provide for ourselves. We still need to do all of that. And if we don't incorporate all of that into our life and teach people how to do this again, all the way up from our children to our elders, I'm not going to think that way, because it's not going to be that way, because there's people like us out there who are going to teach people these things and going to show these people these things, and it's going to be a better world because of people like us.
I absolutely agree with you, Angela. Absolutely agree. Thank you so much. Alignment with mission. Now, remembering that there was the education, generation, and urban-rural divides on this one. So here you go.
Our project aligns with the Illuma Heart Fellowship's mission to bridge divides by creating spaces where diverse groups can collaborate, learn, and grow together, promoting understanding and cooperation through shared goals. And you burn, the urban divide there too. A little explanation on this. If you create a community that feels safe and peaceful, no matter who comes there, no matter who comes there, you're going to have people come that are going to be children all the way up to the elders. And you're going to have everyone involved in that spectrum, even women with rings in their noses and tattoos on their faces, okay? Because they're expressing themselves. Just because that person has a ring in their nose or a tattoo, or they might even be wearing the most proper suit in the world, doesn't mean that they don't have something to offer to the community. It doesn't mean that they don't want to learn something from that community. They need a place to go to, so no matter what they look like, what they talk like, what color their skin is, that they're welcome. Yep. And that stuff gets dropped at the gate. That's the community. That's the fellowship I want to build. And I don't care if you come from the stars up there. I don't care if you're a being, if you're from outer space. I don't care if you're the tree over here that I talk to every day, or my dog that I talk to every day, or the little yellow finch that comes up and makes my landlord stop for a second and go, oh. And you can watch all the energy disperse from his body. And you tell him with your own voice, that's what life's about. Stopping for 2 minutes and looking at that bird, because that bird isn't scared, because it's so peace right here. Yeah. That's the communities we need to build for people to come to, and then we can change this world.
I'm all over that, Angela. You and I are so in alignment. So let's go over and, Steve, you wanted to, yeah.
So I'm so glad that you added the 3 specific divides that we look to resolve through my nonprofit. Because I see that how the question gets answered is very differently. And I also see, Angela, that how you answered it, I see the potential for how it does, because your project is fairly well thought out. But I'm also seeing things that are missing. And so like now that I've got this, now I can look and go piece by piece and say, have you thought about this? Or what are you doing to measure this? Or have you thought about how this is going to impact this group? And so now we've got something to work with, not just an idea.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for taking the time to do this, because this is why we asked for this. It allows us to help you.
Bridge divides. We'll fix that later. Timeline for implementation.
Our current progress and future steps. I'm now living on a property with foundational structures in place. And who knows what the universe is going to throw at me for that, but we'll see. In the next 3 months, I complete resource mobilization and finalize planning with partners. 6 to 12 months, begin construction, host initial community events, and launch pilot programs. Beyond 12 months, scale up operations and monitor results to refine the model. You know, in a realistic world, this is a pretty good process of getting an implementation of getting this done. However, in this reality that we're living in right now, there's lots of outside forces that we're working with that all of a sudden might show up. I might have somebody knock on my door and say, hey, I have this land over here and I heard about you. What do you think about this? Okay. And I might be packing up everything and going, okay, let's do it. You know, you got this vision, because this is a vision that I have, that I've had my whole life. You know, and trust me, it doesn't, I don't have everything in there, I'm sure. Thank you, Steve, by the way. This is good. So, but I can't do this by myself. I need help. I need help. You know what I mean?
None of us can.
None of
And
us
that's why
Yeah.
I have the same vision, Angela. I've called it Our Heart Gardens. I've had it for 10 years. I understand your passion because I feel the same as you do. This needs to be manifested. And each one is unique. And it is, yeah, well, we've got so much to talk about.
I'm glad. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's been a long time since I've been able to actually talk to people with a vision like this and go, hey, oh, you get it. You get it. Okay, thank you. Because most people throughout my life have said, you're crazy.
I stopped talking about it because I couldn't find anybody who wanted to work with me on it. And it would just, you know, chewing the same stuff over and over again. And so when we combine, that's the, I said, Spirit, I said, Mom, the magic in ordinary moments. I said, Mom, when you bring me my team, I will go back over it. Until then, I will work on the things that you put in front of me. What was put in front of me was Humanity Rising and the After Chat. I was put to work on the global network. And I understand that because we need that. The global free education needs to be delivered somehow. Humanity Rising needed to have the after chat happen. This is, I'm watching what's happening, and it's all happening in divine timing. And we just need to trust and have faith. And so let's go on to the next one. All right. Handling potential challenges. How will you handle potential conflicts or resistance?
We recognize and plan for challenges such as resistance to change, address through dialogue and showcasing success stories, resource gaps, proactive fundraising and partnerships, and diverse needs, adapting programs based on community feedback and data. Okay, and the universe is going to throw things in your way, just like it did for me over the weekend. An associate of mine, someone that I knew, showed up at my gate and decided to just have a complete fit. And not in their right mind at all. It's been a long time since I got scared down to the core. My mind, body, and my soul was scared. But I know that I handled the situation correctly. I know that I did things correctly. And now that I have filed paperwork and I have done some other things, you know, I do believe that the universe put that in my way just to see if I was going to put my foot down and to see that this is not happening anymore. And, you know, some of the energies have shifted around this planet here and things like that. We are protected. If you're doing things out of your heart, you are protected no matter what's going to come around you, and it's going to work. So, and change. This is a tricky one because when you bring communities together, I've lived in a lot of communities. I've done a lot of resource sharing, and there's certain rules and regulations that need to be set down. And there's a little short set of bylaws that you need to follow, as far as I'm concerned. And if somebody can't follow those bylaws, then they're not allowed to come into the community. Simple.
And there needs to be places for those people as well.
Yes, absolutely. There does. Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going on to the next one, which is, oh, let me take that out.
I think that's the last one.
No, I don't think
Oh.
so. There's
See,
there's more. I know that because what resources
I wonder
beyond,
if I didn't answer the last couple questions.
I think you missed 3 of them.
That's
So
okay. I should be able to answer them.
Can
I'm
you,
pretty sure.
we've got, what resources beyond funding do you need to succeed?
Yeah, I know I answered them, but beyond funding, you need community involvement.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need that. You also need some social things going on. You need people that know how to do the internet. You need workers that are willing to do that. You need people that are going to actually want to live on the property, and then other people that are going to want to, expand the property and things like that. And it's always good to have support, a couple of board members, somebody with a like vision, somebody with a like mind, and even others that don't have the like mind, because then you're balanced.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you need a diversity of people involved.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So how will you share your learnings with other communities?
One way to share your learnings with other communities is to actually go to that community and talk to them in person. Another way is to record everything that you have going on. You can do Zoom meetings like we're doing here. There's many, many, many options on how we can share that stuff with other communities. You can have them become members, a private membership in order for them to see your stuff. That way you can have a revolving income. I mean, there's many, many ways. You can have interns come. I know, Steve, 8 forms of income there, 8 forms of capital, excuse me. There's other people, we get those resources lists out here and say, hey, guess what? These people here just want to travel around the country and go to different communities like this, and they want to work a little bit and be able to live there and have a little bit of an RV spot or maybe a tent spot. We can use those resources like that too. And that's how people learn from the communities and do things like that. It all depends on, what you're open to, I guess.
I love to hear it coming out of your mouth instead of mine. Thank you so much, Angela. The last question of Steve's on the 12 questions. What's your backup plan if initial approaches don't work?
My backup plan if initial approaches don't work is I'm going to go find another approach. I'm going to go talk to somebody else. I'm going to go talk to a banker. I'm going to go talk to another investor. I'm going to go write a grant myself. I'm going to find the people. I'm going to do this. I don't care if I'm 100 years old and I'm still working on doing this. It's part of my mission, whether I build the community myself or I help build the community. That's just who I am. I haven't ever stopped now. Yeah. The universe is, I'm going to tell you, I have moved all over this country more times than my fingers and toes put together. I have lived in numerous communities with numerous backgrounds. And it doesn't take me long for people to go, hey, you know what? We like you. What can we help you with? Because they know that I'm coming from my heart and I'm helping them and I don't expect anything back from it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then all of a sudden when people see that, it like does a whole catalyst thing and it sparks them on the inside and they're like, oh, what can I do now? Look, I see, and bam, before you know it, you have everybody in this community helping each other out instead of dissing each other, even if they hated each other before.
Yeah.
So
yeah. This is world-changing stuff, what we're talking about here, Angela. I do believe. So Let me just do a quick run through on my project, the Our Heart Gardens one. And Steve said to me, well, you have to include a why. And so it's 13 questions, the way I look at it. So the why is, having held this vision for almost a decade, I've watched the need for it grow to become the answer humanity needs. The OG's pattern is already naturally forming. By naming it, we give it power and enable people to support it. Each location is unique and naturally coming into being, and the network is vital. It must be created with intention by people with the vision, knowledge, leadership qualities, and connections to gather and inspire people around the world. The mission is to foster community, deliver free education, promote food sovereignty, and revitalize urban spaces in a global network of hearts of communities. The key issues: social isolation, food insecurity, urban revitalization, mental health, and knowledge. The impact: to measure participation, food production, skill development, social connections, and well-being. The partners are local food banks, community gardens, schools, government agencies, and nonprofits. Engagement: outreach, partnerships, inclusive programming, language accessibility. Dialogue: community meetings, online platforms, and events. Sustainability: financial model, community ownership and expansion. Alignment: bridges divides through community, inclusivity, and shared goals. Conflicts: open communication, mediation, community involvement. Resources needed: funding, space, equipment, volunteers, partnerships. Sharing: case studies, publications, and presentations. Backup: alternative locations, modified programming, partnership expansion. Overall, OGs offers a transformative, unitive, visionary approach to community building and well-being. And it goes on to, I can't do this alone. I'm looking for a team. People who believe in this vision and want to be part of making it a reality. I imagine starting with universities, as I'm connected to the Ubiquity University Network and the After Chat of Humanity Rising. With Jim's Nuggets, we have a product that provides valuable information and connections. You can help spread the word, assist with promotion, or connect us with resources. Everyone has something to offer. Together, we can create a ripple effect that nurtures bodies, connects hearts, builds a global mind, and helps us husband the earth herself. So that's my vision, and I'm grateful to be able to share it with you. Anybody have anything to say? Steve, yeah, come on.
So thank you both for sharing those. Here's something I noticed that wasn't addressed in either of them, just to give you an example. Like first I asked how you were going to measure it earlier. In Angela's project, more so than yours, Shannon,
Yep.
There are going to be zoning changes and requirements and compromises and things like that that hasn't been mentioned there. And so how are we going to approach those things? And so this is why it really comes down, when you find a project that's as well thought out and as expansive as the two that you have, to be able to now go to a community with that and the opportunity to show them how through New Paradigm Capital and the 8 different forms of capital, we can show them new ways of implementing this now. All of a sudden, you start creating demand for those projects. And once they start succeeding and you have proof of concept, all of a sudden, there's going to be a lot of people wanting what we're doing. So thank you, Angela. Thank you for knowing that I wasn't trying to give you a hard time asking for this information. Thank you for knowing that I'm really just trying to help you. And the best way that I can help you is to find out how can I help you put your project in a format that the people are looking that I have looking to invest will say that's a no-brainer. I see why you're pushing this project or why you showed me this one. And once I get my investment, like I said, to have the website that can generate all this and show the dashboard to measure all those things and to be able to show all the projects that we're highlighting and why they might be something these investors want to invest in. It takes money to do all that. And I've invested a lot of money in my life, in myself and in education. And I mean, 2 years ago, I was trying to represent clients who were running for office as nonpartisans. And I realized that's not what I want to do. No, I need to do it this way. And so everything I've done has changed.
So we've had two very similar projects come forward at this point. I would like to bring forward a different one, Gaia's Zoom room. Now, let's just run through this, see what you guys think. And I can't see you, so putting your hand up doesn't help. So interrupt me if you want. What specific community issue? Vulnerability, disconnection between all strata of society, lack of circulation of information and resources. How will we measure the impact, the well-being of the people, and the improvement of the environment? Who are your key community partners? Universities, helping agencies, schools, community centers, mass transit. What? Gaia's Zoom room. Yeah, okay, mass transit doesn't fit in there. What's your strategy for engaging diverse community members? Students in courses have opportunity for, I know what this, I apologize. I didn't review this before going into this. What that is a combination of Our Heart Gardens and Gaia's Zoom room. So I take it back. And I'll work on that more. Other networks is another one that I've got started, and let me just review it. Oh, it looks much better than the other ones. Why don't we? Let me bring that one in instead. Share screen, main session only, share. Okay.
While you're doing that, every single time you go through these questions on your own self, you continuously find someplace, oh, I forgot this part. Oh, this doesn't fit here, it belongs over here. So,
Yep.
Doing my presentation work, preparing last 2 weeks, I reorganized and found parts that, oh, that's too much. We have to cut it back a little bit.
Yeah. And so I did one for Stan, other networks one pager. The project overview is Other Networks aims to connect individuals and organizations working towards a better future by offering a rich repository of knowledge, history, and inspiration. This digital archive, founded by Stanley Procris, features a vast collection of Humanity Rising episodes, interviews, and materials intended for all future generations. What specific community issue addresses the critical community issues of knowledge preservation, connection building, and empowering youth? How will we measure user growth, community building, the number of new connections and collaborations? Knowledge sharing, analyze the frequency and depth of discussions and knowledge exchange on the platform. Youth engagement, assess the number of young people using the platform and the impact it has on their understanding of the world. Who are your key community partners? Humanity Rising and Jim Garrison, the host of Humanity Rising. As the primary source of content for othernetworks.org, Humanity Rising and Jim Garrison are essential related organizations. Presenters and organizations focused on social justice, environmental sustainability, and other relevant areas can potentially become partners. What's your strategy for engaging diverse community members? Outreach. Implement a targeted outreach strategy to reach diverse communities, including social media campaigns, partnerships with relevant organizations, and educational outreach programs. Accessibility. Ensure that the platform is accessible to users with disabilities and those from diverse backgrounds. Inclusive content. Curate content that reflects a diverse range of perspectives and experiences, including suggesting guests for appearances on Humanity Rising. How will your project foster ongoing dialogue? Discussion forums. Create online forums and discussion groups for users to engage in conversations and exchange ideas, like the after chat that is held each day after Humanity Rising. Community events. Organize virtual or in-person events to bring users together and facilitate networking, i.e., Humanity Rising watch parties in universities, etc. Collaborative projects. Jim's Nuggets is a transcription of the opening monologues by Jim Garrison, president of Ubiquity University, covering such diverse subjects as the UAP Disclosure Bill, war, communication with non-human intelligence, etc. Encourage users to collaborate on projects related to the topics covered in the archive, i.e., sparkling conversations held between HR presenters listed in other networks. What's our plan for long-term sustainability? Diversified funding, develop a sustainable funding model that includes grants, donations, partnerships, and potential revenue-generating activities. Community ownership, explore opportunities for community ownership or governance of othernetworks.org, and strategic partnerships, form partnerships with other organizations to expand reach and resources. How does this align with our mission to bridge divides? Other Networks fosters connections between diverse individuals and organizations. As a platform for knowledge sharing and collaboration, it can help to break down barriers and promote understanding. What's your timeline for implementation? 6 months, secure funding, enhance the program's infrastructure, and implement a community outreach strategy. 1 year, expand the archive's content and features and foster community engagement. And 2nd year, explore opportunities for growth and sustainability, such as partnerships and revenue-generating activities. 9, how will you handle potential conflicts or resistance? Guidelines, develop and enforce clear guidelines promoting inclusive, accurate content. Mediation, implement a mediation process to address conflicts and disagreements. And open communication, maintain open and transparent communication with users and partners. 10, what resources beyond funding do we need to succeed? Technical expertise. A team with expertise in web development, database management, and digital archiving. Community engagement, a dedicated team to foster community engagement and outreach. Chat action, a derivative of the after chat, currently acts in that capacity. And partnerships, collaborations with organizations and individuals who share the project's goals. 11, how will you share your learnings with other communities? Case studies, publish case studies documenting the project's successes, challenges, and lessons learned, sparkling conversations. Presentations, participate in conferences and workshops to share knowledge and best practices. And collaborations with other organizations working on similar projects. 12, what's our backup plan if initial approaches don't work? Adapt strategy. Be prepared to adapt the project strategy and approach based on feedback and changing circumstances. Seek alternative funding. Explore additional funding sources if initial efforts are unsuccessful, and leverage community support. Increase reliance on community contributions and involvement. By addressing these critical areas, othernetworks.org can continue to serve as a valuable resource and foundation for individuals and organizations working towards a better future. And it goes on, and I hear chuckles. Was it you, Stanley, chuckling?
I haven't chuckled. No. Sorry. I could if you want. I could
No,
comment.
that's nice to know. That's nice to know. Did any of that ring any bells for you, Stan?
Oh, it's mostly good. There's some specifics where I would expand on ideas. Um, Other networks is more than a compendium of humanity rising, but that's certainly a big chunk of what happens there. And I don't hear a relationship with something called the Gaia Zoom room should be part of that.
Good point.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And and the other people that are writing to Steve's project. So those people will become part of the community of people that we're working with because they're there and they fit.
They do.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I'm really grateful for Humanity Rising for bringing us together.
Right.
Gaia's Zoom room. Blue, can you remember, was Gaia's Zoom room started before Humanity Rising or after? It was before, wasn't it?
Oh, well, Gaia's Zoom room was always there because it was between you and I and in the beginning, and then it went on and on.
Yeah, we talked about our heart gardens at the beginning, and Humanity
Absolutely.
Rising wasn't part of our
No,
conversation. You're right.
yeah.
So this has gone on even longer than Humanity Rising. Ha! So this is, though, where participants from Humanity Rising are becoming aware of the Our Heart Gardens vision. And so it is very much, the streams are coming together, becoming the river, and we're going to that ocean of love. I'm so grateful for the participation of you in Gaia's Zoom room, and to have you in my life. Steve, you came along and inserted energy and passion into this conversation that Joan and I have had. And it was Earthstock that, moved the earth. And it did what it needed to, and it's created a much stronger conversation in this room, and I'm grateful for it. And I just want to acknowledge Angela for bringing her voice in about her project. I feel very much that your project is a node in the Our Heart Gardens network. And it seems that you and I need to work together, and because we're making the same things, we're working on the same things in different places, and your experience and your passion will inform mine and mine you.
I happen to wholeheartedly agree with you, Shannon.
Yes.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Oh, that's wonderful, Angela. We'll be closer in contact. And Stan, what have you got to say, sir?
Well, I just want to comment on the whole process, and also I want to reiterate something that I've been trying to tell you since we've been talking about our heart gardens together, is that there are hundreds, maybe thousands of projects like Angela's, which really are and could be considered to be part of our heart gardens because the model is expansive. And what I am finding is that you see, I'm talking to Shannon, you see our heart gardens as requiring your stamp. It's your idea, and that diminishes it to some extent. It's because it's Angela's idea, it's Steve's idea, it's all of us. Certainly, Bunny is doing things along these lines. All of us are part of what you envision, and what you need to do is to broaden your view of who is already.
Who is already, where'd you go?
He's froze up. That's like I was having bandwidth issues before as well.
Well,
Who's that?
what I'll do, Stan, you blinked out there for a moment, but
Oh.
what I want to say about that is to reiterate the Our Heart Gardens why.
Mhm.
Part of it anyway. By naming it, we give it power and enable people to
Mhm.
support it. It is this vision that I have is hashtag the one we are, getting in touch with the rest of its body, creating the circulatory system, the nervous system of this body, this entity that we are all a part of. And that includes our Mother Earth. And we are the progeny. And we need to take care of her so we don't kill her in our birth. By giving us everything, she has put her own life on the line. And I honor her for that. But that's just me and a few other people, and it needs to be more of us, and that is what I see as Our Heart Gardens purpose. The mission of Our Heart Gardens is to awaken the one we are to the potential that we have to be pop, the power of people, that husbands, mom, the magic in ordinary moments. This is what I'm passionate about.
Okay. And if you want to, I'm going to say this.
Okay.
Other networks has the same mission.
I know that.
Okay.
I love
Well,
that.
and so we're already part of Our Heart Gardens. And Angela's program, the way she was talking about it today, is already part of Our Heart Gardens. She doesn't talk about a building where people are growing food indoors. I mean, but that's not necessarily a factor that's going to separate it out. It brings what she's talking about brings us together. And I want to remark on Steve's process that has been utilized here. I have been since the 1970s a community bringer together person. I ran a storefront information center called Everything for Everybody. And from there, I began studying the process of networks and networking. And I spent 30 years as a consultant to other nonprofits in technology. And I was writing their software that helped them keep their records of who they served and how much they raised and so on. So I must have consulted with about 1,000 nonprofit organizations, and what Steve has offered is a standard sort of theory of proposal requests. Okay, he's written a tool very, very similar to what many funders offer in terms of how do you raise money from us? You fill out this form and you answer these questions. and the questions he's asked are perfectly appropriate. And there might be more questions, there might be different ones, but in essence, what he was looking for was the same thing that foundations look for all the time when they're trying to figure out who they should give money to. And they have to know that organization, they have to know the project, they have to know what the vision is all this stuff.
And he freezes again. I'm going to take the opportunity to say how much I appreciate, Bunny, your comments in the chat and our alignment. Please bring your voice in.
Yes, as I'm listening to everyone speaking and expressing their passion and what's on all of our hearts, it's a joy to understand that the oneness that we've all envisioned is already here. And we found it in this little room here because we actually all do have the same vision. I haven't answered those 8 questions yet, but I would answer them exactly as each of you have, but also with my own little innuendos going in and out, which is so absolutely mind-boggling beautiful, because I knew this day was coming when we would meet one another and combine our energies. It's like we're all working on the same project, people. We're all working on the same project, and each of us has gifts and experiences that we bring to this table here. So as we offer our gifts and place them all in front of us in the circle, and we have opportunity to observe the beauty and the passion and the commitment. How often have I said, I'm going to live to be 114 and I'm going to still be working on this project? Whether it makes money or not is not the issue. It's for 7 generations forward. And so we're all thinking indigenous. We're all connected to Mother Earth, all nations, all cultures, all spiritual perspectives. And to have that vision of a global gathering, a global oneness, is massive. But as I hear in each of your presentations and the financing of it and the funding it and the keeping it going and the sustainability, it always points back to our hearts, because healing, I say this in my Indigenous Healing app all the time, healing is an inside job. When we find our own sovereignty in the gifts and the piece of God part that we are, then it resonates through the whole planet. And our discussions tonight and the things we're writing, I've rewritten mine a gazillion times. And I'll rewrite it a gazillion times more. But perhaps as we work together, we can get all of these beautiful descriptions into one that brings the oneness, as well as honoring the gifts that our hearts bring. And I see that happening as we speak. So keep up the good work, folks. I'm looking forward to seeing how this all merges together into that beautiful resonance that's going to shapeshift the whole world, that's united in fear to a world that's united in love and harmony and abundance and peace and balance. And that's where we're all heading. It's a sure thing, as long as there are individuals like us willing to step up and take the reins, whether we can find other people silly enough to join us or not at this point. We found each other. So we can continue the insanity to manifest the beauty, to reverberate the beauty of all of the natural world that's always been there, but we just haven't seen it because of our limited viewpoint and fears. So keep on keeping on, folks. We're on a good path here.
Excellent. And I have just sent you a Google Doc with the questions. that is for you, and you get to play there. And we are at the top of the hour, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank you so much for being a part of this and ask if anyone would like to have a word before we break. Stan.
Yes, well, we're doing what I've been suggesting, making lists and making friends. And
Yeah.
the other part of that I can comment on is not a one of us is going to stop doing this because we haven't raised the money. So don't worry about raising money because you don't need it. It's only wonderful to be able to make more things happen and be able to pay people to help the pieces parts. But the raising of money is not the main goal for the beginning of any of this stuff. The main goal is our determination to keep going and whatever it is that we do and be able to try to expand. Um, I would suggest as we think about what we're doing, don't worry about the money. And it's one of the there's a wonderful book that has the 10 rules or 7 rules of money. And I'll bring that up at another time because I would like to make sure that those of us here know about this fabulous book that talks about it's called Honest Business is the name of the book, but we'll get to that another time. And I also
Excellent.
I want to bring my friend Tom Greco into this conversation in the near future, because
Excellent.
Tom Greco is working on the design of the international, national, local business structure that will supplant the money system.
Excellent.
Yes.
You should perhaps maybe share the recording with him. And
Well,
truly, this has been a really good meeting. I think it went swiftly enough that it can be shared without boring people terribly. I'm so thrilled with you guys, and I feel like the progress is being made in the most delightful way. And thank you so much for being a part of my reality.
thank you.
Bye, Jerry. Bye, Kate, darling girl. Blue, I love you. Patricia, are you still awake? Jerry and Steve, thank you so much. Yeah.
And
Thank
thank you, Marco.
I
thank
followed.
you, Marco. There you are. Patricia, you're still awake.
Yep, I'm still awake, listening to every word, but I'm gonna follow up closely. Big kiss to
Oh,
all of you.
you sleep well, darling. You sleep well.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night, all. Bye. Yeah. Ah.